I know we've only known each other for 4 weeks and 3 days, but to me, it seems like 9 weeks and 5 days.
All my garden enthusiasts and passionate plant people, welcome to Let's Get Growing show here on, or the Sunday edition of the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today. We've got a really great show ahead for you today. As always, on the second Sunday of the month, we've got our good friend Scott Wilson from the Gardener Scott channel join with us here just a little bit later on the show to answer all of your gardening questions. It's Ask Gardener Scott here on the Let's Get Growing show. I'm excited. I can't wait to see Scott today. It's always great to have him around here on the show with us. So look forward to that conversation a little bit later on and get all of your questions ready. I want to see lots and lots of questions from everybody. So definitely get some garden questions for Gardener Scott ready to go here just a little bit later on for us here. So yeah, right on, everybody. Let's go ahead and do this right at the top of the show. You know the deal. Let's run through it. It's click that thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe, bell notification to be notified of upcoming videos, live streams, and share with all your friends. And let your garden friends know that we're here every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's around 7 p.m. in the UK, and all the way the next day, early in the morning, 4 or 5, even earlier in Australia for our friends down under. So again, thank you everybody for joining us, whatever time zone you're in. But definitely let your friends know about our show so that they can come and join along with us here. And a big, huge shout out to all of our replay watchers, Team Replay in the house. Drop into our comments down below. Let us know you were here. Let us know where you're growing from. Let us know if you got any suggestions, guests, all that sort of stuff. We've got a whole new year coming up here, so I want to hear all about how your garden grew this year and what you got coming up this next year. Or just drop in and say hi. I'd love to hear from all of you there. If you are here with us and you do have questions, like I mentioned already, I want to see lots and lots of questions for Gardener Scott later on in the show. One of the best ways to get your questions seen, though, is to type them in all like capital letters. And that way I can kind of see the questions from the conversation. We'll make sure that we get those queued in to our questions to ask Gardener Scott here so that we can get them answered for you. So right on, and follow all the links down below in the description to Gardener Scott. I believe Gardener Scott's book, all that sort of stuff there is as well as our other social media and things as well too. So definitely check out our links down below for our guests. Definitely. All right, excellent. Like I said, here we are. What a wonderful time of year. We're winding down the year. I mean, I'm really kind of I don't know. It's a bittersweet type of thing, you know. Again, it's like, well, it's hard to believe that for one that we are heading out of 2025. That's ending. It's over already. It feels like it just began just this last year, and or I mean just this last year, but I mean it feels like it just began. I mean, and now we're all through a whole nother gardening season. This one just really flew by, and I know we say that a lot. It seems like almost every year you kind of say that and it feels like that in a way, but this one really truly just felt like it went right by me there. So again, so it's kind of bitter that that's kind of like, oh man, we missed the whole this year, and but we get to move on to next year. So that's the sweet part, you know, is that 2026 is ahead of us. We got lots of great things to look forward to. So, you know, I'm just kind of in that, you know, kind of, I don't know, just in kind of enjoying the time of the year in the sense of like relishing this year, but then also looking forward to next year. So It's really great. Let's see here. Let's check in with everybody and see who we got in here joining with us here today. Let's see here. I want to see if I can't find our good friend Jay. Let's welcome our good friend Jay right at the top of the show, facilitator of our chat and co-host or host, not co-host, but host of our show a couple of weeks back. I'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But thank you, Jay, for being here, joining us from Midwestern Ontario, Canada, and facilitating our chat. Keep an eye out for great links. If you have any channels, let us know. If you're new around our conversation here in the chat, and Jay can get a link in for a nice little channel shout out for you if you like. And then let's see here. Who else we got in the chat? Oh, of course, we got our good friend Bowtie Life, David in the garden. Right on. He says, greetings, global gardeners. He says, from Hawaii, I'm literally just finishing the replay on yesterday's show right now. It was such a busy day yesterday and this morning. It's coming up on 9 a.m. now. Yeah, that's something you're usually kind of on the other side of that, ahead a few hours of us. But now you're kind of behind a few hours, but you're just getting your day started there in Hawaii. It was really, really awesome to have you with us yesterday on our community show. That was so fun to catch up with you in Hawaii and get to see those wreaths at the memorial there, which was just really cool. So again, David, thank you for putting in the effort to share that with us. That was just really amazing, really awesome. Excellent. Dusty Flats joined us. We got to see and meet our good friend Dusty Flats. We see in the conversation all the time yesterday on yesterday's show. Right on. Excellent. Thanks for being back with us. Big Will Dog. He's been on some community shows before. Says he's joining us from the frigid Indianapolis. Snowy and frigid. Yeah, we were seeing some snow yesterday as well, too. It is really, really starting to dump on a lot of people around out there for sure. I don't know if I'll see any. Maybe we'll still see. Winter is still yet to start, even really. So there's a lot of time to look forward to some possible snow around here for sure. Let's see here. Howdy from deep south. Michael Connor joining us. Deep south, North Alabama, 8A. It's unusually cold day here for December, but Bowtie David got me turned on to your chat. Awesome chat. All right, excellent. Thanks for joining us, Mike. Michael Connor, thank you so much for being here and checking out our show. I really hope you enjoy hanging out with us here today. Excellent. Right on. And let's see, Jack in the conversation, following Gardner Scott, winterizing fruit trees and collecting leaves per his leaf mold video down in zone 8A or 8B, 9A. Yes, awesome. Excellent. Yeah, Gardner Scott's great. I mean, I'm telling you, I've learned so much from Gardner Scott over the years. It's so awesome to have him here with us here on the show. Let's see. Jay saying, what fun in the community show yesterday. I know it was really, really a great show. And like I said, it's always great too when we get some new faces involved in every community show. We've been lucky enough to always get some new faces in there and to get to see some, again, put the face to the person that we get to meet and know in our chat and conversation. So again, that was so much fun to do. Like Bowtie says, yesterday was so much fun. Already making plans for better abilities in the future for our channel and the Urban Gardener community channel. Excellent. Yes. And again, like I said, David, that was just so awesome of you. Again, reception and doing outdoor things is such a, believe me, I've tried it. I've worked on it and done different things, and it is not easy to go and show really cool, really nice things. I mentioned yesterday I did a walkthrough live stream a few years back when I went to go visit San Francisco Francisco. Was doing a few projects around there, and decided to go to the botanical gardens and just do kind of it was a pop-up live stream. Hey, I'm at the botanical gardens, come and check out all this sort of stuff. And for me, it was just really amazing. I'm seeing all these just really cool stuff all around me, and I'm trying to show everybody, but the reception just wasn't making a clear enough picture where anybody who was watching it could really enjoy seeing it. So, we got to see some really cool stuff. This, like I said, the skyline was awesome. Getting to see all those wreaths out there was just really amazing. So there was some really great stuff there that you got to show us. So it was really good. Great addition to the community show for sure. Right on. Excellent. I see we got Eddie joining the conversation right there. Say hi, Eddie. Hi, Eddie. How's it going? How are you doing today? Thank you for joining with us here today. Again, like I said, we got a great show ahead here. Gardner Scott's going to be on in just a little bit. And like I said, I want to hear some great questions from everybody. That's one of the things that makes the conversation so much fun with Gardner Scott is getting all of your guys' great questions and being able to get a good variety of different things to throw at him and see what he can do. I mean, I don't think we've really ever stumped Gardner Scott ever when it comes down to it. I mean, this guy is a wealth of knowledge. And like I said just a minute ago, I've learned so much from him over the years. So again, it's always such a great privilege to have him here. We'll talk a little bit about kind of some things, today we'll talk about a little bit of what we do in winter time and that sort of stuff as well. But I want to see lots and lots of great questions from all of you. Definitely here too. I see Serena in the chat. I know Serena's going to bring some great questions to the Gardner Scott chat conversation. So look forward to seeing those questions for sure. Let's see here. Where are we at? Oh, there we are. Can't forget my friend Adam. Just saw this here. We got Adam joining us again too from just right up the road in Central Point, Oregon, here in Southern Oregon. He's just right up the road from me there. Great to see you, Adam. Great to have you here in the conversation. Thank you so much for being here with us. And like I said, great day. We're winding down the year. We'll talk about our last couple of shows coming up here this next week. I can't believe it. Like I said, I just can't believe it. Next week, really, it's the last couple of shows of the year for us here on the Let's Get Growing show. So that's just really, really something. So let's go ahead and I want to get one more friend in here before we see. I see we've got our friend Paul, who is also a contributor for In the Garden. Might as well say hi to Paul before we get into Mark's In the Garden segment for this week. And thank you, Paul, for joining with us here today. Again, thanks for all of the great In the Garden segments. But I think it's about time. Let's go ahead and jump in and see what's up with our good friend. We saw him last week for our book review, but let's check in with our good friend and see what he's got for us this week in the garden with our good friend, Mr. MBC.
Ho, 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 you're in the garden with MBC. Hey, everybody, I'm not out in the garden. I'm in my house, but I've brought some of the garden in with me. And today I want to talk about this gift-giving time that we're in and how empowering it would be for you as a gardener to be able to give the gift of seeds to someone you know, love. Maybe it's someone you don't even know. Maybe it's just you're leaving them in one of those distribution pantries. You're empowering somebody by your work, by your thoughtfulness in the garden over the season. I give lots of seed gifts. I keep them real simple. I just use these little tiny coin envelopes and put my own just a quick little border on there. I label them MBC seeds. I got Italian flat parsley here. I labeled the year. And this is like a teaspoonful of seeds. But what an amazing gift. This is 100, 150 seeds. It's enough for a full season, multiple plantings of parsley. And yeah, somebody could buy it from a store, buy it from a seed rack, but how much more meaningful to come from somebody you know and this just hand nurtured product, right? Something that I've taken the time to grow and cultivate and care for and then bring into the next generation of the garden year. So let's talk a little bit about seed saving just in general, because what a beneficial practice as gardeners. And really, to be a seed saver is to be a seed giver. Let me show you why. Here, well, just this parsley is a good illustration of why. This was a couple of plants worth of seed, and I literally have, probably 3,000, 4,000 seeds in here. So even being a little bit generous with my seedings, that could last me years and years and years. Or the other alternative is to use some of it this year, but give most of it away, right? Because I know I can renew this resource in my garden, and I can, in the process, empower many other people to have this wonderful plant, something that I've grown, that I've been growing over the years from my own seed, and that's getting more and more adapted to my local environment. Here again is some chard, this wonderful pot of gold Swiss chard from Renee Shepherd Seeds. And this was a couple of plants worth, produced like 3 of these. This is like a 10-ounce container. So 30 or 40 ounces from just 2 or 3 plants. It's always an amazing abundance. You can notice that in each of these, I have some kind of a label, right? You do want to label your seeds, and it's important when you save them to get them in somewhere that's cool and dry so that they last as long as they might. Let's talk about a few things, because clearly if you have a supply of seeds, you're in good shape right now. You can just go ahead and start giving them out, make your own little seed packages, however you like. But if you don't, let's use this as a thought springboard for next year to start thinking, okay, in my garden, is there a crop or two that one maybe goes to seed on its own? Maybe I'm already growing something that does go to seed in my garden, and I just haven't taken enough notice of it, or haven't been rigorous enough in collecting it. So maybe there's something that's already happening. Perennial plants, for example, will produce often a lot of seed just on their own. And all you need to do is kind of show up and collect it, and that's it. So, for example, I gather lovage seed, which is a really wonderful, I call it steroidal celery. It just has it's a beautiful celery leaf looking plant that actually gets quite tall. It's much bigger than a celery, but it's just strong. It's got a bold celery flavor, but it produces these amazing stalks and these umbels, these umbrella shaped flowers that just are loaded with seed. I collect some every year. The plant doesn't even notice, no problem. So some of it's just the seed is there, and maybe it's just needing the collection. Others, it may be a little bit more planning required. Like this parsley, for example. Parsley is a biennial. And another seed that I collect in that category, the biennial category, is kale. So those plants, you're going to want to think a little bit about your strategy. The thing with seed saving is that oftentimes the plant in its seed-bearing form will be much more gigantic and rangy than the actual plant that you may be eating. So when I'm eating parsley, it's kind of a mounded shape that's 24 inches tall at most, and pretty tidy. And then when it goes to seed, it just sends out enormously long stalks that go out in every direction. So that may or may not fit your garden aesthetic, and you may need to do some things to rein in those plants. You may need to stake and tie, just to bring things into a little bit more harmony in the garden, and not let this seed saving become something that you start to resent instead of that you love doing. So anyway, knowing the cycle, like I said, knowing the cycle of your plant, whether it's an annual, biennial, or perennial, that means on what cycle does it produce seeds? Is it 1 growing season, annual? Is it 2 growing seasons, biennial? Or is it 3? Is it every growing season after a certain maturity point, perennial? Like if, for example, we all know fruit trees, for example, fruits have seeds in them, but many fruit trees won't produce fruit until year 6, 7, or 8. Some are a little earlier. Anyway, if you were looking to try to save seed from a fruit tree, which is not generally common practice, just using that as an example, Other perennials might take a few years to get to maturity and then begin producing seeds. So sometimes perennials need to build up their underground reserves before they start into full seed production. But then after that, it will be every year you can count on them. Okay, so we have some considerations about how much space it will take in our garden. We have some considerations about what cycle the plant bears seed on. And then we also have some considerations about hybrid versus open pollinated seed. Hopefully many of you know this distinction. If you don't, let me explain it briefly like this. Open pollinated seed is going to be seed that when we save the seed, we're going to get almost exact copies of the parent plant. There's been a little bit of shifting, there's a little bit of individual difference, but basically the plant reproduces true to type and we get what we planted. Hybrid seed is quite different. Hybrid seed is produced when two kind of genetically pure strains, sometimes called inbred strains, of two different parents are partnered up, pollinated, crossed, and then the resulting generation, the next generation, exhibits some kind of amazing characteristics. And this is often called hybrid vigor. It may grow faster. It may grow stronger. It may taste better. It may ripen earlier. All these things make hybrids really attractive for some gardeners, mostly for commercial farmers and gardeners. But there's just some hybrids that you can't do without, like Sun Gold tomato, for example. That's one of my favorites. If you try to save seed from a hybrid though, like Sun Gold, let's say you had a Sun Gold tomato. Here's an actual bag of tomato seeds that I saved. These guys, I just poured them on a paper towel, so I've actually got kind of like, let's see, whoops. Tomato seeds stuck to a paper towel. This was a dry saving method that I was trying. We'll see if it worked. Anyway, you're going to be squeezing out these little Sun Gold tomatoes. You're going to be getting those tiny little seeds. You'll save them and then you plant them the next year. Guess what? You're not going to get a Sun Gold. Because of that hybridization process, the next generation after the hybrid, which is the one that we're looking for, after that, when you save seed, the genetics reverts back to parental and grandparent strain or characteristics, and you often get things that are wildly different from the thing that you wanted. So there's some interesting genetic information in there that gets expressed in later generations and really will never live up to what you wanted. Many people have, for example, have tried to dehybridize Sun Gold. That means grow it out and try to pick the ones that most closely match that first hybrid generation. But I don't think they've had tremendous success. I think Sun Gold stands alone. So it's just something to think about. If you're targeting seed saving, you want to work with an open pollinated crop and not a hybrid crop. And the hybrids are often identified in our catalogs or on seed packages, either with the word hybrid or F1. It means first filial generation, first generation after the cross was made. And that's where all the incredible characteristics reside, and then they get distributed among all the progeny later on. So save your seed from open pollinated stuff, but if you do, you can do it for generations and generations and generations and pretty much be assured of the same crop. Anyway, I hope in this season of gift giving, if you already have some seed, you'll consider throwing that into people's stockings and gifts, because what an incredible gift it is to them to take this natural partnership between you and your garden and the fruitfulness of it through the seeds, and be able to give that as a gift, pass on that legacy, to pass on the joy, to pass on the health of growing fresh food for ourselves. That's an amazing gift to give to anybody. But if this holiday season finds you short of seeds, maybe it'll stimulate you to plan for this in your garden for next year. So you've been given fair warning. Now we're at the beginning of the season again. A lot of us are in the downtime of the garden, and this is the time of planning, the time of seed ordering, the seed collecting, the seed swapping. So this is a great time to plan for that, to start thinking about, wow, I wonder what I'd like to give as gift next year, and then start planting some of that, find out when you can save the seed, and then go for it. So I hope it's a bountiful season. I hope it's been a bountiful season for you. I hope some of that bounty included some seeds, because this really is the promise of the future. It's the promise of health. It's the promise of so many good things. And who wouldn't want to share this, right? I mean, nature almost requires that we share it by giving us such an incredible bounty of seed when we save seed. So I hope that some people are finding little gift envelopes from your own seed company, as beginning as it may be, in their stockings and in their gifts this year, and that you're able to share that generosity and the pleasure that you know as a gardener. I will see you next year. I'm wishing you a happy 2026. Join us next year for all this wonderful programming on this Urban Gardener station. Enoch Graham, my Christmas hats off to him. He's such an amazing force in the garden world. Thank you, Enoch, for all you do. And we'll see you next year as on Let's Get Growing in the Garden with NBC. Take care.
Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, where we grow cool plants, and author, Saving the World with the Home Garden. Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard has 7 natural oils that protect your plants, not just from the summer heat as well as winter cold, but also protects your plants from damaging insects and rodents. The oils in the product include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. These oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, which are encapsulated by the base powder, offering your plants months of protection at a time. 1 application per year will suffice for protection against damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, but if the target is pests, application as much as 2 to 3 times a year may be necessary.
All right. Excellent. Here we are back at it again. And thanks again, Ivy Organics, as well, for being our sponsor this year. So great to have them a part of our show. Definitely check out ivyorganics.com. Use our promo code GROW10, GROW10, in their shop to get 10% off. Go get some 3-in-1 Plant Guard. And also big, huge thanks to Mark for our In the Garden segment today. Just what a great contribution to our show. Again, thanks to him. I really appreciate his thanks as well. And again, too, if you want to, again, we're in this Christmas shopping season. Like he said, he's got a great idea there about utilizing our own seeds. It's a great, in a way, if we're growing and gotten plenty of seeds and they're really bountiful, then like Mark said, they're a really great gift to give, and they don't cost much of anything. But if you're out there shopping and looking for some gifts too, we got lots of great suggestions today, but you can find down in the links down below, you can see Mark's Design Your Eden, Design Your Garden card deck. It's a card deck that kind of inspires creativity and thought and all of that as well when you're thinking about designing and setting up a garden space of your own. So that's a fun kind of thing to do for you or other gardeners. Plus, as well too, go and check out Mark's Instagram. There's a link as well to that down below too. He's doing his Microgreens University this winter, so you can follow along with him as he's doing some tests and some experiments and things like that as well too, for his different things he's got growing on as far as microgreens and his little indoor garden he's got too. It's really fun. He does some really great stuff there, so definitely do that as well too. So again, go check those out there. And also one other thing too, he did mention to go back to the seed saving though too. I'll mention one other thing we've got a link to down below. Our friend Farmer Greg's Great American Seed Up. This is where you can get like a big bulk amount of seeds, and then you can kind of divvy them up and make small little packages if you don't have any seeds you've saved from your own garden or anything like that, but you think giving some seeds would be a great gift. That's a good way to get some bulk amount of seeds, so you can set up little packages like Mark showed there as well. But you can get a whole bunch of different great varieties there at the Great American Seed Up as well. So right on, everybody. Thank you again for being here with us today. We've got Gardener Scott coming up with us here in just a minute or two. Questions. It's Ask Gardener Scott Day on the show. So this is what I want to see. Lots of great gardening questions today. So make sure you're dropping in your questions there, and we'll make sure we get those asked when we get Gardener Scott on here. Did want to say hi to Janet. Thanks for joining with us here today. And as well, Jersey Girl, great to see you here in the conversation with us as well today. If you all didn't get a chance to check out our shows, especially yesterday, I was already mentioning earlier, we did a community show yesterday. It was really fun, really awesome. Again, one of the more fun things that we've added to the show this last year was doing these community shows where you, the guest, get to be the or you, the audience, get to be the guest. Let me get that right. But yeah, kind of like an a video version of a call-in radio show where I give you a link and you guys get to jump on and hang out with us here. And we got to meet a couple of more new faces, or people we see in our chat every week, but faces are new to us. That's what this type of show allows us to do, is put some faces to the names we get to see in the chat. And we had some great couple of new ones yesterday, some others as well. As I mentioned earlier, Bowtie David showed up from his vacation over in Hawaii as well. So lots and lots of fun there on yesterday's community show. Also, I'll mention too, last Sunday's edition, we did have our monthly gardening book club, our 2025 book review. Those were all of the books there that we got to review this week, including, if you see in there, there's Gardener Scott's guide to raised bed gardening there as well too. But we did a book review of all of our books from 2025 with our good friend Mark as well last week. That was a lot of fun. And I want to mention one more time too, a couple of weeks back, I took some time off, some personal time off, and instead of kind of just shutting the show down, we got one of our good friends here to step up and host our show for us. We gave her the challenge. Our friend Jay came and hosted the show for us for a couple of weekends. It was Let's Get Growing with Jay Dixon for a couple of weeks, and she put together a couple of really great shows, a 2025 garden wrap-up. She also talked about some vegetable gardening myths on the Sunday edition, and as well came back the next week, this time with guests. She brought in our good friend Adam Burley, our other moderator, and did a last call on soil care before winter arrives, and a conversation on small space garden hacks with our friend Robin Gardens. And yeah, that was really great, really awesome. It was interesting to see someone jump into my hot seat here and host the show, and Jay did an incredible job. And if you didn't get a chance to go check those shows out, definitely go and see those shows. Lots of great stuff in there, just like we got coming up right now here with us on the show. We've got our friend Gardener Scott joining for answering all of your garden questions for Ask Gardener Scott. So let's go ahead and get that going. I know Scott's just aching and itching to get to some of these garden questions. So here we go. It's time for all your garden questions answered with Garden Scott. All right. Let's get Scott on the show with us here today. How are we doing? Gardener Scott, back again one last time.
Back again, last time for the year. Doing great. It's a beautiful day here in Colorado. I've actually been out all morning working in the garden.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Doing some winter projects, getting some things taken care of over there.
Getting the garden all cleaned up, all the perennials picked and seeded and knocked down, and building a compost pile and all kinds of fun things.
Oh, great. That's great. That's great. Not too much snow and ice then. I need to work
No, we
with.
had snow, a month ago,
Yeah.
and it's cleared up, and it's about 60 degrees today. The rest of this week
Wow.
is supposed to be in the 60s. I think starting on Tuesday, our
Yeah.
nighttime temperature rises above freezing. So we haven't been above freezing at night for at least a month, and we're middle of
Warming up.
December, moving to the end of December, and now
Wow.
we're getting above freezing. So this is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's it's not. I mean, we're not. It's not really a great day out there. It's kind of gray and gloomy and foggy, but it is a bit warmer, and it still has been a pretty warm December for us around here as well too. So, not sure. I mean, maybe we'll see some snow or that sort of stuff. But well, when it's warmer like that, especially for folks like yourself who are in usually cold climates, that does kind
Yeah,
of give you that opportunity to get out and get some things done. And you got to take advantage of those opportunities, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Right on, right on. So, again, too, we are. We're at the end of 2025, and it's been, I was mentioning earlier too on the show that it's a bittersweet time of year for one, because we're wrapping up 2025, and I know we always say this too. And I don't know if you feel this way as well, but it's end of year. We always say, boy, this year just sure flew by, didn't it? But this year, I really feel like it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
literally can. I mean, it feels like just yesterday we were getting 2025 started. We were doing all this, getting prepared and looking forward to what was going to be growing this year and everything. And now it's all kind of wrapping up. So
Yeah.
bittersweet. We got 26 to look forward to, but still, we're looking back at 2025 a little bit today. So,
Absolutely.
what was your overall, you know, um, you know, 2025 like for you? I mean, how would you describe your 2025
So
gardening
2025 has
and
been a
growing
great
season?
year. I've really had a good year in many areas. I did step back from gardening a bit, primarily
Mhm.
because I did my long UK trip. I did a couple trips to see my son in Louisiana. I did a few other excursions that just kept me away from the garden, but I knew those were coming, so I planned to not have as big a garden as I normally do, and it was okay. But now,
Yeah.
like you say, at the end, and suddenly it's all over, and I'm looking to next year. I want to really get back into the big garden, lots of plants, lots of vegetables, a lot more flowers moving into next year. So it was kind of nice just easing up a little bit for most
Yeah.
of the year to now get back into really diving hard.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes that just kind of happens because, I think in my case, a lot of just, busy doing a lot of other things besides gardening, and that kind of gets in the way of a lot of stuff. So in some ways, we kind of have those things that kind of pull us away, but sometimes it's kind of necessary a little bit. Maybe we should take a little break and pull up back,
Yeah,
but that always then kind of gets us re-geared back up, because as gardeners, we're always kind of naturally looking forward to what we're going to get to do in the garden season, and with a little bit of a break the year before, we get even more anticipation, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's fun. I'm actually because the year is flying by that I haven't ordered seeds yet. I've
Oh yeah.
normally ordered seeds by now, so I'm just now putting together the catalog, starting to look through them, starting to come up with a plan, and that's late for me because December
Yeah.
just suddenly appeared.
It, it just suddenly, like I said, where did this come from? I
Yeah,
mean, I can't believe it. I mean, I feel like I should still be back in summertime, actually, other than the weather being a lot cooler. That's how I feel. It's like it's still like summertime or whatever. But yeah, no, it's a catalog time. In fact, I just got my catalogs starting to collect as well too. What are some of the catalogs you've got already this year?
yeah. So I've got Pine Tree Nursery, and I've got Baker
Okay.
Creek, of course, and Botanical Interest, and Totally Tomatoes.
Yeah,
I think pretty much the ones that a lot
I
of people
know.
get.
I need to get back on some mailing lists is what I've been figuring out though too
Yeah.
for the last few weeks too, because I've been hearing from some other friends too, like, oh, I got this one and I got that one. I did get my high mowing, and of
Yep,
course
I've got that one too.
is of course the Baker Creek free catalog just showed up. Actually, that one just came up, but the whole seed catalog, the real
You got the big one.
The real treasure of the seed garden seed catalogs, the whole seed catalog. I did get that, came in nice and early too, before everything else as well too. So, and it's just like usual, packed full of so many goodies.
Good.
Yeah, right on, right on. So you're haven't got to plant and seed. What kind of things as far as 2025 kind of grew for you, or you know what I mean, as expected or better than expected, maybe, you know, those sort of things? What were some of your kind of better crops that you grew this year?
So okra is one of those. It was probably 6 months ago you were asking me about, you know, the plants that didn't do well in my garden and the ones that I didn't like growing. And so this year I had my granddaughters actually choose from all of my seeds, and they sowed my vegetable garden. And
that's right.
Yeah. And my youngest granddaughter loves pickled okra, and so she put the seeds in the ground. I had an incredible okra year. I've never had okra. Yesterday at my garden club Christmas party, we were talking about things like this, and I mentioned okra, and everybody was saying, I can't get okra to grow here, which is what I've always said as well. And that stands out this year as a crop that did incredibly well until the hail came and, you know, devastated all the pods, but it was growing tremendously well. And then daylilies.
Did they recover?
Not really. I mean, it was a bad hailstorm, and I wasn't here to protect the plants. So it knocked off a lot of growth. You had to break the news to the granddaughters, right? Yeah, and the pods were damaged pretty severely by the hail, but they had grown great up to that point. And then daylilies. I put a lot of daylilies in the ground and actually got quite a few flowers in the first year. So that was another great success. So those are my top two, one in the vegetable garden and one in the flower garden.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. For me, was my melons, which again are not very often up in my top in any season. Usually sometimes they're good. Sometimes, you know, again, I'm maybe focused more in other areas of the garden and not really paying attention to them very well and getting them out when I should, or that sort of stuff. So there's always some gardener error when it comes to it, for sure. But this year they were fantastic. I mean, I got so many cantaloupes this year, which is my favorite melon of all. I just love it, and got a lot of them, especially as well too. My little mini watermelons, the little sugar babies. I had tons of those growing from several different plants in different areas of the garden. They all seemed to do really well and produced a bunch. So that was really amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, you gotta like the ones that aren't always that successful. When you get some successes on some things that you don't normally do, you gotta really enjoy that, for sure.
Absolutely. I had a really good melon year as well. They didn't taste as good. I think I had to harvest a little early because the cold was coming, so they weren't as sweet as they could have been. But yeah, they grew great. Had probably the biggest melon crop I've ever had.
Oh wow, amazing. Right on. All right, well, let's get to some questions here. I think we got a couple already queued up here. If I can work through a couple of these here. And for everybody who's joining with us today, this is our Ask Gardener Scott, last Ask Gardener Scott of 2025. So it's your last chance to ask him here, at least on the Let's Get Growing show, some garden questions for this year. So again, drop in some questions for us there, and we'll get those worked into our conversation today. Dusty Flats, who was on our community show yesterday, that was so much fun. I'm telling you, Scott, these are really cool stuff. Getting to put faces to these names And yesterday we got to meet Dusty Flats. She came on and joined with us as well yesterday. So she's asking, anyone have a great Nante type of heirloom carrot to try? How about you, Scott? You
Yeah, Scarlet Nantes is one of the ones that I've grown a lot of, and it does great. And I'm trying to remember, because I got a video I did a long time ago about saving carrot seeds. And I want to say it was the Scarlet Nantes that was the carrot that I showed in that video. I don't remember for sure, but that is one that I've grown and I've saved the seed from.
Right on. Yeah. Is that and again too, I know I grew a Scarlet Nantes years ago as well too. It's been a little while since I've done some carrots actually. But is that the one that's kind of more of a snubbier end on the end, or is it more of a straight?
Well, at least in my garden, yeah.
It was longer, or was it
It wasn't a long, pointy carrot.
Yeah.
It was kind of a medium size.
Yeah.
And I do remember more of a rounded tip, but
yeah.
It's been a while since I've grown it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try those again. I got to get carrots going again. That's one of my bigger goals this year. It is one of my favorite things to grow for sure. Let's see here. Eddie's asking, I burned off my grown-up garden spot yesterday. Corn stalks and bigger things didn't burn. Can I just cut those off, then cover with my leaf mold and fresh fallen leaves?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Doing a burn. That's something I don't hear about.
Now the corn stalks, I would chop them up a little bit. If you're basically using them as a mulch and covering them with other material until they break down. So they'll break down absolutely in the ground. The corn stalks, corn leaves, they're a little bit thicker and denser, and they have all that fibrous material in them. And so I would cut them into pieces first. But yeah, absolutely, you can do that. In fact, that was one of the things I was doing out in the garden, was just cutting down all of my sunflower stalks and the perennial stalks, and just cutting them into pieces and letting them fall on the ground. And then in some of those areas, I'll go back and I'll put compost on top of them, just as part of the fall garden prep. So, and the fallen leaves, absolutely. I've got a whole bunch of bags of fallen leaves, and that's exactly what I'm planning to do, is make some leaf mold and then also cover. That's what I've done in my front yard, is cover the chop and drop stuff with the leaves.
Excellent. What do you think about that, though? I mean, when it's and of course when it's safe, we're going to put safe there as a guideline, but burning off your garden.
So I have to be careful here in Colorado, because most of the year where I live, we're actually under burn restrictions. We're not allowed to have any open fires at all. Now, I've got a fire pit, and I think this year I was able to burn it 4 times because we had some wet weather periodically. And so they'll raise the restrictions if we have like a week of rain, which is very rare. And so that's the safety aspect. And that's what I always warn people about, is find out about your local conditions, because you might be ticketed seriously. And, if your neighbor sees that you're burning your garden and it's in an area where you're under a restriction, like I often am, you can get yourself into trouble. I mean, it's an easy way to do it. And quite honestly, I cleaned up my asparagus beds today, and one of the beds has a lot of weeds, and the weeds are all dry. And I'm going to do when I get done, I'll probably do it tomorrow, actually. I'm going to just burn off that one bed, but I'm going to be standing with a hose on top of it before I do that. So you do have to be a little bit careful.
We got to highly emphasize safe, but in the, the practical discussion of what's going on and what we're getting from such a thing is, really that it's pretty beneficial, or we talked about biochar a couple of weeks back and everything. So
it's a little bit different than the biochar, because typically when you're burning off a garden, you're reducing it to ash. But pot ash is potassium, and so basically, depending on the plants you're burning, you could be adding potassium back to the surface of the soil, and then it could also affect the pH. It tends to raise the pH. And so that's one of those things, particularly if you have acidic soil. you'll see a minor difference at the soil surface when you burn off plants. But it's a quick and easy way to clear a garden area, and that's really, the pH is minimal, the potassium is minimal. It's mainly just the ease of.
You think though, like in the sense of saying, because it looks like what he's trying to do here is, of course he's burning it off. He wants to figure out what to do else with those stalks, but kind of covering things up, maybe maybe putting a bed to sleep for a little bit kind of thing for the winter time. So you think maybe there's some adjustments going on that may, that by time we're a couple of months down the road, that everything's going to be adjusted to where we need it. As far as, like, say, those pH imbalances and things that will happen.
And like I said, a small layer of ash isn't going to affect the pH much, but that's that's how nature works.
Exactly.
And so I'm in full support of anything that mimics nature. You look at around the world, lightning strikes or whatever, and a field burns down, and then it gets covered with the blowing leaves, and then new plants appear. And that's just a normal cycle.
Yeah. Like Adam says, we have burning restrictions similar here, unless it's a recreational warming fire. Yeah, we got our different things based on fire pits and those sort of things. But yeah, again, it's really just emphasis on safety. Me in my mind, I'm thinking, like you were just mentioning, this is how nature works. You always, hear about, fires happening in the forests and everything. And, a lot of that is just natural and it's good, and things regrow. In fact, I've had conversations with folks who are, really knowledgeable about some of those conditions and trees and things in these forested areas. There's some things that grow that require fire.
There's some pine cones
in order.
Pine cones require a fire to basically burn off the resins and open up the cones so that the seeds can fall out. So, that is a natural part of some trees in particular, that they need the fire. And then there's also some grasses and ground plants that are very similar. They need that fire to be able to recover.
Yeah, grasses as well. Yep. And so when again too, there's some things I get to learn from all these just wonderful conversations I get here with all these amazing people here. But that's just really fascinating how that all works. Also, another thing I'll bring up while we're on the subject in a way too is and I've seen many videos. In fact, Mark actually did an In the Garden video, I think last year, talking about flame weeding. And actually getting a little gardening type flame thrower, if you will, and using that for getting some of those early weeds as they're starting to pop up and burning.
And I'm glad you said it that way, because that is really the key. If you burn off the early weeds, you can be effective in killing the weed. But if you've got established dandelions and you take a weed thrower out or a fire thrower out to them, it's just going to burn off all the leaves. It's not going to actually kill the plant, because the root is deep in the ground and it's not being burned by the flamethrower. So that can be a very effective, again, when done safely in an area that allows open fire. But it's not, the solution that is often sold is kill all your weeds. Established weeds still, quack grass isn't necessarily going to be killed. There's Bermuda grass isn't necessarily going to get killed. There's a lot of stuff that when it spreads through the rhizomes or the roots,
underground,
you're just killing off the leaves.
So that is a good point in handling weeds. You got to be early again too on that safety aspect. We don't want to be going in, like dandelions or other grasses or things again too. We're got to be really concerned about conditions and things that are dry, could spread fire and do all that sort of stuff. So you don't want to be going into some garden that's growing. It really is for kind of like a mostly soil. You're just seeing little tiny things popping up, and you want to take care of them. Just as you're getting ready to plant out the rest of your crops and stuff. But interesting things there when it comes to dealing with fire in the garden. But again, some beneficial stuff though too when you really look at it. Again, like we said, we talked about biochar not too long ago. and I'm going to be looking into trying to get some of that incorporated into some of my soils this next year.
Good.
All right, let's see here. Serena asked, Gardner Scott, what is your New Year's resolution regarding your garden? Have you thought of one yet? I know we still got a few weeks. Have you been
I
thinking
don't
about
really
it?
do New Year's resolutions because I try
There you
to
go.
to live every day the same. You know,
There you go.
I try to garden as a gardener who spends all year gardening.
Yeah,
And
there
so
you go.
I don't wait till January to change something. If something needs to be changed in the garden, I'm going to change
Right.
it, whether it's April or October or January 1st. But because, like we talked about at the beginning, you know, looking at seed catalogs and choosing new things, it kind of falls into a New Year's resolution just because of the timing. But I'm going to be trying a lot more of the annuals in particular, because this year when I went to
Yeah.
pick up the petunias and the pansies and a lot of those kind of things, they're just so expensive, more expensive than they've ever been. And so I guess that's the closest I've got to a resolution this year, is just trying to grow my own annuals from seed so that I don't have to go to the garden center and empty the wallet.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of similar when it comes to the kind of resolution things. I like to think about it if I'm thinking about my garden is kind of like, instead, what are kind of my new year challenges for the season kind of thing versus like a resolution as we normally think about them this time of year, because again, most resolutions don't kind of, you know what those happen to those. So
Yeah.
really, I kind of think of them as challenges and stuff. So I've kind of thought about a couple of things I want to do as far as maybe retrying some things I've did before. You know, I've been around this garden plenty of times, and I think my granddaughter's going to be probably by next fall, around a little about 2.5, be perfect age for a nice big fat pumpkin. So my goal is to try to grow the biggest pumpkin I can in this space. So I'm trying to think maybe I'll build something out of it or something, and
Nice.
as I take people along with me for the year and see how big of a pumpkin we can do in a small space. But kind of a fun thing, not necessarily a resolution, but
Well, no,
a
it's fun.
challenge for the year,
Yeah,
kind
I've
of,
got some pictures when I was at the Galileo Garden 10 years ago, I think, almost exactly
Mhm.
10 years ago. My granddaughter was 3, and I've got pictures of her on the table sitting next to the 100-pound pumpkin that I grew as part of that same basic idea. It was at the school. We were trying to grow big pumpkins, but
Yeah.
it's cool when your young granddaughter comes and the pumpkin is as big as she is. So
Exactly.
that's a lot of
Like she
fun.
could climb inside of it maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know. We'll see how big we get.
Have fun with that.
That'll be the
Yeah,
kind of
Atlantic Giant, I think, is a real easy seed to
Yeah.
find, and it does well in most of our gardens. You're not going to get a 2,000-pound pumpkin, but you'll
No.
get you
No.
can get a 100-pound pumpkin relatively
Yeah.
easily
Even
with
if
the
I
right
even
seed.
if I use some of my connections and got a 2,000 pumpkin seed, I don't think I'm going to get anywhere close to that size.
Yeah. Takes a lot of work.
Yeah, even with the genetics. Let's see here. Oh, Serena was also asking, Scott, Baker Creek has basil seed, African, what is it, Nunum, which is a blend of oregano and basil, great for pesto. Are you planning to grow it?
I'm not planning on growing it. I haven't looked through my Baker Creek catalog yet.
No, you gotta get.
And so I don't know about that one in particular.
I know, I don't find it in here, basil.
But I'll look at it and see if there's something about it that I might be able to take advantage of.
Yeah. Again, too, they always got so many great things. I thought hopefully I was like, oh, maybe I could go to it real quick because it is alphabetical, but I don't know. Where we go? Oh, can I find it in here? Oh, I don't know if I'm seeing it. Maybe it's got to be one of those.
I always grow basil.
Yeah.
And some years I did a video. I'm sure Jay's going to be on top of this, but I grew in Greenstock Tower, I think six different types of basil a whole year ago. So yeah, I like trying different types of basil. So it's possible I could try that one.
Yeah. So it's just a blend of the two different. Okay, I see. That's what you're talking about. Okay, excellent. Right on. So again, we are in winter time right now. So I was myself going to ask you a little bit about, we kind of touched on a little bit of stuff here, but you did mention too, you're out there in the garden already today and stuff, but besides that, say it's snowing, say it's ice out, we saw a couple of people yesterday, they're under a bunch of snow and all of that. What are some of your winter tips for gardeners? Not winter gardening tips, but winter tips for gardeners, things we could be thinking about doing, maybe that sort of stuff during the winter time while we're kind of in a little bit of a hiatus from our gardens outdoors.
Well, early winter, I think, is an ideal time to look back on the season. Exactly the kind of stuff we're talking about today.
Yeah.
What went well, what didn't go well, what do you want to change? Basically just do a complete year-end review when it's cold and snowy and there's a fire going and you're just sitting indoors trying to stay in the spirit. Make notes of what happened in your garden this year as the foundation for what you're going to do next year. So I haven't completed that exercise yet, which is one reason why I haven't ordered the seeds yet, because I haven't fully decided which direction I'm going to go with, particularly my vegetable garden moving forward. And so doing a review really makes a big difference as you plan what you're going to do for the next year. So great wintertime activity, going through the seed catalogs and just getting motivated. And that also, depending on the seed catalog. So, some of the ones like Territorial Seed, Johnny's Seed, there's a whole bunch of catalogs. I love, Petco. There's catalogs that just are filled with information. And so going through the catalogs is still a great idea. If you're not needing any seed or not planning on buying any seed, still go through the catalogs, just because there's so much good information. Some of them, Baker's Creek has great histories behind the plants. You might have recipes that you can find in the catalogs. So the catalogs can be a really good information resource during the winter time. And I love doing that. Do a seed cataloging. So, I did a video about this a few years ago as well, that I have hundreds of packets of seeds, some of them open, some of them not open. And it's like, you forget what you get. You order 20, some of these companies, it's like free shipping if you have 20 seed packets. So I'll order 20 seed packets just to get free shipping. And I might only need 3 or 4 of them, and I stick the others in a box. You should go back in all of your boxes and find out what seeds you already have, and that can affect what you're going to do for the rest of the season. And if you got duplicates, I always find duplicates. I'll think, I need to grow this thing, and I'll end up ordering it 3 times from 3 different companies just because it fits with the order to get free shipping or whatever. And then you put them all together and it's like,
you're like, wait a minute,
why do I have 3 packets of these seeds? So, that's a good winter time activity. And then if you come across the packets that, are already opened, you might grow them, you might not grow them. Winter sow, I'll just walk out into the garden when it's snowing and just throw the seeds in the snow.
Yeah, and just throw them out there, huh?
Yeah, and then, when the snow melts, they'll get down onto the soil and they might germinate, they might not. It might be food for birds, but that's a good way to clean up your seed stock, is just by throwing them out there. So there's a couple of the winter activities that I do every year.
Yeah, and good point you were making there too on seeds, and I always find great analogies with gardening and my other favorite thing, baseball. And you were making me think about when I collected baseball cards when I was younger too. Kind of the very same thing when it comes to the seeds, and having the same ones. Oh, I got duplicates. You have to trade those or do something with them or that sort of thing. But yeah, it's always great to do inventories, and wintertime is a great time to be doing inventories, like going through your seeds and seeing what you have, what you might have doubles of, what you need as far as things that you're regularly growing in your garden, and trying to keep a regular supply of seeds in season after season. But there's also other inventories as well too for our gardens, like checking our tools.
Absolutely.
Right? Making sure that things are good or need to be replaced and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, and one of the activities that I did a little bit last week, but I'll do more with the good weather, is I've got my bags of leaves, I got my bags of pine needles, I got my bags of grass clippings, and I've got my bags of compost and mulch, just organizing everything that you're going to use in the upcoming season. So I've got all of this organic material that I'll be putting in my garden, and I do the same thing. I go to the store and it's like, oh, I need a bag of compost, and I buy 3, and I get home and I forget that I already have 6 that I was storing up. And so it's kind of the same inventory idea.
You're a very similar shopper like me. You're at the store, we're looking at things. Oh, I might need this. I should probably get some of that. And then I get home and I'm like, oh, as I'm putting it away, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I didn't really need that. I did.
That's right. Yeah.
or sales catch our eyes, all that sort of stuff too, right? Yeah. That's another good thing though too, right? It's also is that it is this time of year, winter time, when you're going to find it. Some of these other, stores and places are going to be having kind of sales.
Sure.
On things as well too, because it's kind of an off-season time as well, so a good time to find those sort of things you might need to replace too, like we're talking about doing a tool inventory. Maybe something's worn out, needs to be replaced. This is a good time to be.
Well, and gloves, this is the time of year.
Yes.
Typically for Christmas my daughter buys me a nice set of leather gloves. The gloves I'm using right now to clean up my garden has holes in the fingers, and so I'm hoping to get that gift for Christmas, but it kind of falls into the tool category. If something needs to be repaired, needs to be replaced, winter is definitely a good time to take care of that, especially if you can find a holiday sale.
Yeah, exactly. Right on. Excellent. Let's see here. Let's see what we can find in our questions. I think this was for someone else. Oh, I guess Jay was kind of, I guess we kind of answered that one. What type of garden activities you do in the winter time? Yeah. Those sort of things. Inventories, really a great thing. That's a good idea. And again, too, gift giving time as well. Again, holidays, it's Christmas is coming up, and I guess I'll take a minute here to do this real quick. Gardener Scott's got a great book. I mentioned it just earlier as well, too. And I do want to make sure every time we get you on, we are mentioning this. But again, wintertime things.
I appreciate that.
Things
and actually, talk about winter sales. It's on sale at Amazon right now, actually. So,
perfect.
If you don't have it, or if you want to get it for a gift to someone else, check out Amazon. And it's at a pretty big discount compared to what it was when it first came out. So
I do believe that's the link we have down below.
If and when the price is going to go back up, so take advantage of it now.
Take advantage of it now. Exactly. Either get yourself a copy if you haven't had a chance to get one for yourself yet, or for someone else. Another thing that Jay was mentioning to me before the show that I was thinking, you also have a Gardener Scott gift store, right? Where you have other things.
Well, I don't have a gift store.
Or is it a store of some sort, right?
So underneath my videos in the descriptions, and depending on how you watch your YouTube, I've got t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff like that are part of a merchandise, the Gardener Scott stuff. It's not a standalone store site. So even my links to the Amazon stuff, I don't have an Amazon store. I know some people do that. I just have links to the things that I use and that are sometimes Gardner Scott related.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, I mean, if you want a T-shirt or something like that, there's another fun gift to get from Gardner Scott. And yeah, let's see. Maybe we can find a link for that as well too. Right on. Let's see here. Let's get in here. Oh, back to. I was seeing Serena pop this in here too just a minute ago. Does oregano repel pests too, or just basil? I mean, what are these different?
It depends on the pest.
Yeah,
it depends on the plant. Oregano will repel some pests, but it doesn't repel all pests. And basil will repel some pests, and it doesn't repel all pests. And when we talk about repel, it's not necessarily that like you can put a basil plant in your garden and it's going to keep all of the pirate bugs off of your turnips. It doesn't necessarily work that way. It's not like a invisible force field that moves out from the plant and keeps all of the pests away. It just usually means that certain pests aren't going to attack that particular plant. And it's rosemary that falls into the same category. It's lavender, almost any plant that has that really strong aroma or that has the oils within it that have that same effect. That's what's repelling a pest. And sometimes it's an animal pest, sometimes it's an insect pest, but it really comes down to the specific pest because all plants have something that's going to eat it.
Yeah. There's everything has some competition for sure when it comes down to it. So like I was going to say too and mention as well, like the Ivy Organics, they use a lot of the different oils and things in a combination for the 3-in-1 plant guard and that sort of stuff as well too. So those sort of herbs or what such, like you said, that have these really high
and that's one reason why Charles
pungency to them.
He's got like 6 different oils in the 3-in-1 mix because garlic oil alone is not going to repel everything. And so if you throw in 6 different kinds, it's more likely to repel the different pests.
Larger group of them versus certain individual ones that say just an oregano would do, or just a rosemary or something.
Yep.
Get them all together and start taking care of groups of them. And then
and it depends on the pest. I've got deer, and I grow a lot of those plants as a deterrence for the deer. And they'll still eat those plants. If you live in Colorado long enough, you're going to have deer eat the plants that people tell you, oh, deer don't eat those plants. Because if they get hungry enough, they'll eat anything. And most pests are that way. Even the insect pests that would not normally eat a plant, if that plant is weak and dying, it's going to be attacked by pests.
Yeah, exactly. Right on. Let's see here. Questions, everybody. Here we go. Get your questions in. It's our last Ask Gardner Scott. Answer all your gardening questions of 2025 here today. So definitely drop in and get your questions answered today. Question: do you have any suggestions for what to document in my new garden journal? Oh, there's another great winter activity.
Yeah,
right?
that ties in with
or going over your journal if you did one this last year.
Yeah, talking about inventorying, that's a good thing to put in the journal. And you probably haven't seen it, Jay, but I'm giving you something else to look for. But I've got a video on garden journaling, and I think I list 20 different things in that video that I think are important to think about when you do a garden journal.
Yeah.
Weather is huge, particularly in a garden like mine where I am in Colorado. And for many of us, the weather is the biggest enemy of our garden.
It really
and
is.
So tracking temperatures, tracking wind patterns, tracking, your climate, and really personalize it for your garden. And then start noting trends. And from one year to a next, if you can keep up the journaling, you'll be able to see some of those patterns that might not emerge for a number of years. So for instance, the USDA hardiness zones, they just came out with the new map within the last year. And that's based on 30 years of meteorological data. But the map is only updated like every 9 or 10 years. And so you might be able to see a trend in your garden that essentially moves you from one zone to another. And that's what happened through most of the United States in the most recent map. Most of the United States moved up a half zone. Well, if you were journaling, you might have seen that 8 years ago. And that could affect the plants you're buying. It could affect how you're dealing with your climate. And that's way high on my list. But also, I came across this a couple of years ago when I was reviewing one of my journals, and I came across the plants that I had put in a garden 10 or 12 years ago, and making notes like, didn't do well, don't ever grow again. And it was funny. The reason I say this is because as I was reviewing the journal, I had already put together my list of seeds that I was going to buy. And I came across like 2 or 3 that I had grown years ago and said I would never grow again. But you forget those kind of things. And so keeping track of what you're growing, how well it does, whether you like it or not, can keep you, like we were talking about earlier, it can keep you from buying it again when you really don't want to buy it again.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Make good notes. And again, too, journals are really great. I've been kind of lacking on mine the last couple of seasons, but that was again, like you said, it's a good way of seeing how things are changing, what you're looking at too. And I can go look back at some of my early garden journals when I was first starting gardening here and look at some of those differences from what it was like then to what it's like today. Right. And then, like you said, notice some trends and see where things are heading.
And especially with pests as well. We sometimes think that we always have the same aphid problem. And you may note a trend that you have an aphid problem at the same time every year. I noticed that about 5 years ago here at this garden. I didn't have a huge aphid problem, but every year, and I think I may have mentioned this to you before, I had a currant bush that was in an area that it shouldn't have been alive, but it was growing and coming back every year, but it was always a weak plant. It was always stressed. And at the same time, every year, that currant bush was infested by aphids. And it just happens. It's like the natural cycle. The part that I noticed that I actually used to my benefit is within a week, that same currant was covered by ladybugs. So I really didn't make an effort to get rid of the aphids because it brought in the ladybugs. Those are the kind of things that if you note, write them down in a journal, and you can actually do some of that expectation and use it to your advantage.
Yeah. Let's see here. Serena was asking, how do you know when nasturtium seeds are ready for harvest?
So leave the pods on the plant and just let them dry out completely. The thing about the nasturtium seeds is that they have a very hard seed coat, and you can leave them on the plant and not worry about it at all. So basically what's going to happen is that pod on the plant, and there's going to be seeds in that pod, is going to start drying out, and then they burst and the seeds drop out. That's the ideal time. When you see that first pod that's dropping the seeds, then make sure you're harvesting all the rest of the pods, or else you're going to have nasturtium seeds everywhere on the ground, which is no big deal because they've got such a hardy, strong, and they're big seeds. Just pick them up, anything that falls on the ground. But that's what I do with my nasturtiums, is just let them mature and dry completely on the plant. And then you bring them in and you can, let them sit indoors for a week or two and put them into storage. You don't have to worry too much about, them being too wet if you let them dry on the plant.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of generally the case with most seeds, right? I mean, we're gonna let them just mature to full maturity, fruits, just let them go and take them when they're really, really ripe, or in some cases, like you said, pods and things like that that dry out, and then you know for sure that your seeds are going to be fully mature and ready to go. Is there? I mean, are there really any exceptions to that you can think of?
Um,
Like seeds you can harvest early, you know, or that you don't have
there
to wait for. I mean, I
you
think
can
kind of
you can
how
always
those, right?
harvest early. The issue is that um, you can harvest flower seeds
Yeah.
as soon as the flower dies, basically. So, because of what happens, the flower blooms, the seed, the petals start to fall, the seeds have already started developing, the flower dries, and then you harvest the seeds. That's generally the cycle. But once that flower dies, the flower stalk typically cuts off the flower. The plant is no longer sending any energy, any fluids into that flower. And so you can harvest at any point after that flower has basically been um, walled off from the plant through the normal cellular walling, if you want to call it. Basically builds a wall through that stalk so no more fluid goes up. So the seeds are not going to ripen anymore. They're just going to continue drying out. So, I guess you could say that's an exception. You can harvest flowers that have reached that level of maturity. And even if the flower's not dry yet and the seeds aren't dry yet, you can bring them inside and let them dry out before you put them into storage.
All right, let's see here. See, Big West was asking, I want to grow lemongrass in pots, but any tips on lemongrass from herb growers? Thank you. Any tips on growing lemongrass?
Yeah, lemongrass needs heat and it needs warmth. Don't put it in a pot outside and let it freeze, because it's not going to make it through the winter. So put it indoors in a nice area. It will kind of go through a dormancy when the temperatures drop, like most grasses. But it's great to grow, and it's easy to grow if you have a nice, rich, well-draining soil in a nice, warm environment. I grew lemongrass in the school greenhouse, and it would get cold. It would drop below freezing, and that wasn't enough to kill the lemongrass because of just the little microclimates in the greenhouse. But you do need to be careful about sustained cold killing the lemongrass. So indoors over the winter is probably the best approach to take. But keep it moist, and it's actually kind of fun to harvest lemongrass and use it in cooking.
Yeah, lemongrass is great. Let's see here. Let me trying to get this here. Okay. Serena was asking, what do I need to enrich the soil with or grow as a ground cover to prevent sour tomatoes?
Yeah, so there's nothing that's going to prevent sour tomatoes. That's probably happening because the plant is getting stressed from too much heat or too much wind. Amend the soil with compost and whatever organic material you're going to use. But that's really not going to change whether it's a sour tomato or not. The sourness and the sweetness of tomatoes are tied to the genetics of the tomato. And as long as the plant is healthy, then you're going to have a tomato that tastes like that type of tomato. If it comes out too sour, it's either the variety you have, and maybe it's a new variety and you didn't know it was going to taste sour, or the fact that the plant was stressed. And so therefore you don't have the same chemical development and the sugar development within the tomato, because maybe you didn't have enough fluid flow to get the nutrients from the soil up into the plant. So if your tomato plant is doing well, then you shouldn't have that issue at all.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to I run into this all myself all the time too, but usually gardener error when we're dealing with
Yeah.
stuff like that, I'm not watering right, I'm not taking care of the plant as I should be, and, yeah, so then it's again, that's gonna, like you
And
said,
you see a
affect
lot of
all
stuff,
those aspects of it.
and you know this as
Size,
well,
taste.
Enoch.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos on uh, add milk to the ground to taste sweeter, add
Yeah, yep.
magnesium sulfate, Epsom salts to make them
Epsom
taste
salt, yep,
sweeter.
that's one.
I have a master gardener friend who is convinced that by adding sugar to the soil,
Oh, yeah,
that's going to make the tomatoes taste better. And there are no studies that support any of that to make the
right.
taste any better. It's all about the health of the plant and the genetics of the fruit.
I know. It just, and again, it seems like, we try those things, we hear about them, as newer gardeners, and somehow, some way, doing that sort of stuff, I think is just a part of us caring for our
Yeah,
plant, right? So it's all these other things that are making the plant succeed, not just this one particular thing
exactly.
that we look right at and go, oh, I did this differently. These aren't the trends we're looking for when we're talking about garden journaling.
That's right.
And you're seeing that sort of thing.
Well, and it makes perfect sense. If you're going to
Yeah.
go to all the trouble of collecting eggshells and putting the eggshells in a blender with a cup of vinegar, and then you pour that onto your soil, and you're babying if you go to all that trouble to add something to the soil, your plants are going to do better. It has nothing to do with the crushed eggshells. It's just that you are giving more attention to your plant. You're probably watering it on a consistent basis, and that's
Yeah.
what's making the difference.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's saying all her mini spoon and Roma, Ukrainian purples were, yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
hate to say this, Serena, but
you
I
got
mean, it's possible your taste is changing because that's very
Mm,
unusual to have 3 different types of tomatoes all
yeah.
taste sour. So,
Oh, yeah.
maybe it was when you
Taste
harvested,
buds or things are
but
going
it
changing, yeah.
could be your taste buds.
Your response to that type of
Yeah.
acidic level of the tomatoes just not connecting right. But I grew those mini spoons this year, and those are actually really tasty little tomatoes. I was really surprised at really how well they tasted for
Yeah.
being such tiny little pea-sized tomatoes.
And we talked a little bit about pH, but that's one of those things that gets back to the healthiness of the plant. And it is possible that if the pH is off,
Yeah,
that could affect the flavor. So
yeah,
check the pH, but that ties back in with giving the plant what it needs to grow best. So
yeah.
a soil test will answer those kind of questions.
Yeah, exactly. That and that too, I mean, that's a great point because if I'm going out there and I've got 3 different varieties of tomatoes that I'm growing out there, and they're all of a sudden aren't tasting like what I'm used to or would be expecting, and or just not like a tomato should be, in my opinion, and sour, as Serena says, then I'm gonna wanna know what's going on, and a soil test would probably be the
It's
first
probably
thing I'm
something
looking
in the
at.
soil. And
Besides, like you said, maybe I'm like, "Oh gosh, am I taking some sort of, medication right now that might be
exactly.
changing the way I'm tasting things or something like that or anything?" But I would go to soil test after that.
Yeah.
Right on, right on. Yeah, Dusty Flats was saying that too. Check pH for better taste.
There you go.
Yep. But, yeah, soil test. Check it out, see what's going on. Good thing to look at as you're going into next year, so you can have some good tomatoes for next year. Oh, Big Will Dog was saying something about. Did you ever check out hashtag Garlic 2026?
Yeah, after the live stream when that came up, I did briefly, but it hasn't been anything that I've pursued really yet. But
Is this something I'm missing? What is hashtag Garlic 2026? So they got a competition out there or something I don't know about?
well, that's just it. I just looked at it briefly and it was kind of like, oh, I need to come back and learn more about this. So
Right.
we'll let Big Will Dog say what aspect.
Yeah. Let us know a little
he's
bit
most
more about what this
interested in.
is. Yeah.
But no, I need to go back and look at that because I just made note of it, brought it up, and then didn't really pursue it anymore after that.
Okay. Dusty Flats asks, are you winter sowing anything? You kind of talked a little bit about
Yeah.
tossing some seeds out and doing that sort of stuff, but do you
But
do
I'm not
that?
doing the jugs. So I did a
Right.
video a couple winters ago where I did the jugs and I sowed in the jugs. So I'm not planning on doing the jugs this year. The main reason I did that a few years ago is because I was still growing plants for primarily my pollinator garden area. That's where I had the jugs. And so now that that area has filled in pretty well, I'm just adding extra seeds in different areas just to see what pops up. So no, I'm not doing any of the jug planting, just
Right.
letting nature decide which of the stuff I throw out there is going to pop up.
Yeah. The jugs are just basically like mini cloches, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
Right?
what
You
it
need to have
is.
a bigger setup or
Yeah.
other types of things other than just
The
jugs,
key
right?
difference, so when we talk winter sowing, so a cloche is basically just like a cover over the plant to create a little microclimate, like a little mini greenhouse for warmth and humidity and for protection for whatever the seeds are. When you do the jug, like a gallon jug, you'll often put soil in the bottom half, then put the seed, and then you have like a hinged top that covers that so you can get into it and manage the plants. And so it's like a cloche that's sitting on top of a little pot of soil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Let's see. And Dusty was asking, what is the best crop to follow brassicas in clay soil? I have a couple boxes of clay.
Yeah. So I don't do rotation. Yeah, I don't do rotation gardening like that because whether it's clay soil or sandy soil, I just amend it with compost so that I don't have to worry about whether it's clay or sand. I just try to bring the organic matter ratio up, and then I grow whatever I want to grow. So I really don't follow a particular pattern. Often after brassicas, it depends on, there's a couple different rotation models, whether it's a 3-year rotation or a 5-year rotation or a 7-year rotation. I've even seen a 12-year rotation. And so all of the models will have a different answer depending on how many years they're using the different plants followed by other plants. But generally with brassicas, and this also holds true if you put like the leafy greens in the same category as a brassica, you would follow that up with a legume to put nitrogen in the soil, because typically the brassicas and the leafy greens are going to take more nitrogen. So you need to put more nitrogen back into the soil. So you would grow a legume in that same space to try to put nitrogen into the soil. But I think a better solution is just adding organic matter like compost so that you don't have to worry so much about what the specific plant cycle is going to be.
Yeah. Compost. Good. Always just a great solution for a lot of that stuff when it comes to, just generally, compost takes care of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Feeds your garden soil just as it needs to have all those great microorganisms and nutrients and all that stuff flowing right, the fungi and all that sort of stuff that makes soil just really, really great, and just also fixes, like you're saying too. Say, if you got the clay soil and you're dealing with that and that's an issue, just compost and keep doing that, as it'll keep breaking that down and making it better season after season. It just might take a little while, right?
Yeah, it'll take some years. The issue with clay is the particle size is so small that it doesn't have aggregates. It's the aggregation of the soil that really creates a free flowing soil. A well draining soil has a lot of aggregates, which are basically clumps of soil. And so when you put organic matter into the soil, you're basically taking a lot of those little teeny tiny clay particles, and then you put a little piece of organic matter, and the clay particles and the organic matter bond, to create an aggregate. And in between all of these aggregates are airspace that allow the water to drain through. But the aggregates also hold nutrients that might otherwise not be as available for the plants. And so part of the rotation cycle is focused on those nutrients and trying to make sure those nutrients are always available to plants. And clay is great at holding nutrients. It's just the soil can benefit, the tilth of the soil benefits when you create the textures as a result of adding organic matter.
Right. Let's see. Have you ever used kale in clay? Kale in clay?
I haven't had a need to. That's one of those things that's often used for pests. And it's different than diatomaceous earth, but it's the same basic idea where you can spread it around depending on what particular problem you might have in the garden. But no, I haven't used it.
Okay. Let's see. What was Dusty Flat saying? Hear so much about club root issues in the UK. Wonder if it's an area problem. What's club root?
So as I understand, it's not an issue I have because I live in a relatively dry region, and I think it's more typical in areas that have a lot more rainfall and wetter soil. But it's like a growth on the root, as I understand it. So it's like a deformed root, and I'm not exactly sure. I want to say it's caused by nematodes. I'm not positive about that. But I would say that's an area problem because it's nothing I've ever encountered. I don't know anyone that's encountered it anywhere near me.
Okay, yeah, I haven't encountered it. It's kind of a new issue to me. But all right. Oh, and looks like Big Will was mentioning about our hashtag Garlic 2026, largest single bulb by weight, combined weight of 5 biggest, and largest bulb by weight grown in a green stock type planter are the categories.
Yeah, there was who was it? Was it
Oh, and this is his challenge there on Big Will Dog's channel. Okay, I see. All right.
Yeah. There was, and the reason I just looked at it briefly was because who was it? There was a channel a couple years ago that I had worked with briefly, and it was a completely different challenge, but it was the same idea of growing and doing it all. And so I didn't buy any extra garlic this year. I only put in what I already had, which is why when I looked at it, I said, I'll look into this more later, probably for next year. But I've already got all my garlic done for the year, so it's nothing to really be able to deal with from this point forward. As far as I'm not going to do anything different with my garlic this year. So hit me up again next year, Big Will Dog, and with
see
enough
what you
time
get as far as what you did, right? And see
with
how
enough time to order some garlic and plan to do it all.
Yeah. Do it seriously, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to see what I come up with too and check those out as well too with some of my garlic that I've got growing. But yeah, right on. Excellent. Well, let's see. Oh, let's see here. What do we got? Let's make sure we get this one real quick. How much leaf mold is ideal for use in a 4-foot by 8-foot raised bed?
It depends. How much compost do you have?
Right?
How much compost do you have in the bed? How much peat moss do you have in the bed? I don't think we really need more than 30% organic matter by volume. And so if you already have a ton of organic matter in your soil, then, a little bit of leaf mold. If you don't have any organic matter in your bed, then you probably could do a lot of leaf mold. But how deep is the bed? Is it a 12-inch bed? Is it a 16-inch bed? I mean, it all depends. It depends on the size of the bed. And so do a volume exercise. Figure that, 4 by 8 is 32 square feet. And so now look at the depth. So let's say it's a 1-foot deep bed. So you're looking at 32 cubic feet in that bed. And if you want a 30% organic matter, then you're going to, by volume, then you're probably going to want to put 10 cubic feet of organic matter in that bed. See, there's a lot of math involved here. And then determine how much of that 10 cubic feet is already there. And then that tells you how much more to add.
Right on. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Well, great. Again, too, really awesome questions, everybody, today. Thank you so much, everybody, for all of your awesome questions. Let's talk a little bit about what do you got coming up in 2026? Anything special planned coming up here as we're getting the new season going? Or
Yeah. So I'm actually, and actually I haven't even mentioned it to anybody but, you know, my friends and family yet. So
we got an exclusive
first announcement
Gardeners
on YouTube.
I know I need to put my newsreel up here real
That's
quick.
right. But next summer I'll be going to France and doing a tour of the gardens of Normandy.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my!
That sound cool or what?
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
oh my gosh!
So that's my.
Have you been over there before?
Yeah, I've been to France before, and
okay.
You know, it's been a 3-week trip just touring different parts of France. You know, without necessarily a garden focus, even though I did do some gardens. This will be the first trip I've done like this where it's a focus on the gardens.
That's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see. So you're thinking, are you thinking content first or vacation first?
So it's actually a tour. So this will be the first group tour I've ever done. But yeah, I will definitely be doing video content as I go through some of the, you know, the Monet's garden in Giverny. And, you know, that's going to be a whole video on itself with the water lilies and just an incredible garden setting. And so more to come as it becomes developed.
Well, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for breaking that news here today, too. That's really great. I mean, that's going to be a fantastic trip. I really look forward to being able to see what you bring back home for all of us to be able to.
And so soon. So I've been working on the editing. It's harder than I expected, but soon I'll be releasing the videos from my UK trip, and so it'll be the same kind of thing. So I did the UK trip earlier this year. Now December into January, some of those garden tour videos will be coming out on my channel, and then I'll do the same thing next year, where I'll go to France and do a lot of filming, and then in winter, a year from now, release all of those gardening videos.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Rob's allotment saying Normandy is a very nice location, a lot of history there.
One of the days is to go to Omaha Beach. So, you know, I love the history of Europe, and that's one reason why I pounced on this trip when I saw it advertised, was not just the gardens, but also Normandy and some of the associated history of the area as well, or the beaches and the history as well.
Yeah, that would just be so amazing, so fascinating to see. You know, I've gotten to go to some cool. In fact, David was with us yesterday from Hawaii over in Honolulu at one of the national memorials over there. They were putting out wreaths on all the different grave sites, so you get to see the big old sea of wreaths out there and everything. It was really, really cool.
Nice.
I've been to you know, in DC as well. Oh, gosh, why is it not coming to me? But anyways, getting to see these national cemeteries is amazing. I've been to lots of them around Pacific Northwest, but to get to go see the ones over in France and Normandy and go to those places would just be I don't know. I guess what the feeling would really be, but it would just be something to be able to take in that history.
Exactly.
It is a kind of a solemn experience ultimately, you know, as I've gone to Arlington is what I was looking for. Arlington
Cemetery. Yeah, I've been to Arlington Cemetery and, you know, spent some time there, and same thing. It's that feeling. I've been to Gettysburg, same thing. It's just, you can't explain it. You just have to go, and for each person, the experience is different and the feelings are different. And I can't even begin to imagine how it's going to feel, having been, you know, an Air Force officer and to be
Mm.
standing on those beaches and be thinking of it from a military perspective.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, especially from that point of view. I don't even have that point of view, and it's really something huge. Like I remember standing in Arlington and or different spots of Arlington, mind you. It's miles and miles of different stuff, and it's just the whole time you're just wow is all you
Yeah.
could think of, like, oh my gosh, wow. And it really, and again too, you got to take those moments to kind of treasure what we have,
exactly.
right? Because that's exactly what those places mean, is that we have what we have because of their sacrifice and all of that. Rob says too, yeah, says if you go to any of the war museum cemeteries, take lots of tissues with you.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I imagine Rob has probably been to Normandy, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
those type of museums and the cemeteries throughout the UK and Europe that I've just begun to touch the exploration of them and anticipate and look forward to it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be great. Again, too, thanks for letting us know here. I'm just really excited for this trip. Still excited to see some of the what you got coming from your last trip as well, too. So those are going to be some great things to look forward to as far as videos coming out on the Gardner Scott channel. I know you again, like you just did a recent, or your last video anyways, was on growing peonies. Besides that, what's coming up as far as videos in the
the
on
focus over the
reel?
next month or so is going to be on the garden tours.
Okay.
I do have, it's taken me forever to finish it. But I have a video where a year ago I was tracking all the temperatures. This kind of gets back to the whole idea of journaling, but tracking all the temperatures in my greenhouse, trying different methods of heating the greenhouse. And so that video is mostly done. I just need to get it finished and get it out. But we'll be talking about methods like propane and kerosene and candles to heat a greenhouse and how effective they are.
Right on. Excellent. And so great. Look forward to those videos, live streams again too. If you didn't get your question answered today on today's show, you're going to be back at it tomorrow, right? Bright and early.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we'll do kind of the same kind of thing. The plan for tomorrow is to just talk about the year in review, answer questions from people as they pop up, and just kind of close out the year with everybody having their questions answered and thinking about what they're going to do next year.
Yeah, excellent. And if you didn't get a chance to check out the previous one though, too, this is one I've got to go back on though and watch, because I'm sure you've got a lot of great tips. But growing a YouTube channel. So if there's anybody out there who hasn't checked out Gardner Scott's channel or seen any of his live streams, and you have a small channel or a growing gardening channel, you might want to go and check out last week's live stream as well too. Any highlights of last week's live stream? We
covered an awful lot of stuff. I think I only had one actual gardening question. The focus was really on YouTube, understanding it. But the highlight is basically you can start a channel for a lot of reasons. It shouldn't be because you want to become rich and famous.
Right.
And you know that as well as anybody.
Exactly.
It can be expensive, as you well know, to run a channel. So it's something that you want to do. And so you have to answer the first question, which is why. Why do you want to start a YouTube channel? And it can be everything from just to act or to be a mechanism for journaling. You start a channel just because YouTube has this tremendous repository, and anything you film, they will store for you. And so you can just walk through your garden and just make, a record of everything you're doing in your garden with no intent that anybody's ever going to see it except for you. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about. They think about if they're going to be a YouTube channel that they have to make videos for somebody else. And that's not the case. You can make videos just for yourself, and maybe others will like it. Chances are no one will ever see it. Doesn't matter. You have to figure out why you want to make videos, and it doesn't always involve making videos that millions of people will see.
Yeah, yeah. And hopefully when you're writing that list down of why, you're coming up with a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Right. And once you start seeing you got a few different things coming up on that list, then you start to think, well, maybe this is something I could do and should do and have some fun with and all of that too. And like you said, that's a big thing. I've been at this myself now over 8 years. And this isn't something you get into to get rich and famous. That's for
right.
sure. Like you said, this is just for sharing and like you said, doing something for yourself too. You know, kind of being able to explore your own creative side and do certain things that you attempt to do things you might not have thought you could do before. You know, that's what the fun of a lot of this stuff is and was for me, especially. You know, I didn't even really know or think that I could actually put a camera on myself or, you know, go around and film these different things. But, you know, I just had a few creative ideas, a few things on my why list and jumped in at it and found I was able to do some really cool stuff that I didn't think I could before.
Yeah. And this is one of the things I talked about that Big Will Dog is talking about as well, that's how I approached my channel all those years ago. Was I just want to help one person with their gardening, because I recognized that it was a challenge on YouTube and a lot of the videos were not helpful. So my goal was to just help a single person. And now, I mean, my channel has helped millions of gardeners. And, you know, I never imagined that was a possibility. So by starting with that one person in mind, you never know. It may end up, you know, becoming a global phenomenon.
Right. That's right. You never know. You never know what's going to happen, you know, when it comes down to it. But again, you take on some good reasons why to get in and do that, like you said, then it just makes sense just to have fun, just to enjoy doing things and just kind of see where it takes you.
Yeah.
Just see where it takes
you. And also what, you know, Bowtie Life, what David says as well, that's a big motivator for me too, is making videos that my grandkids will be able to reference long after I'm gone, and they can continue the legacy of growing their own food, growing their own flowers, and just enjoying life in the garden.
Yeah. You know, who knows? Maybe someday down the road, I'll have all of this stuff cataloged up and my granddaughter Layla might take it over and she might do something someday and be able to carry that on with her as something that we started all the way back when, right?
Yeah.
You just never know. It's a fun adventure to just try and see what you can do and have fun with. And as long as you're enjoying things and as long as you're having fun, like I said, I'm here 8 years later, you know, and as far as size and growth as we're talking about, I'm just out here having fun and I'm just enjoying things. And like you said, if I'm helping a few people here and there to enjoy their garden space and to enjoy the gardening community, which is what this show really is about, is bringing us as a community together, you know. So as you know, we can get those sort of things going from all of this, then have at it, have some fun.
Yes.
The more the merrier, you know. I don't think there's enough. I'm in that kind of position where I've got my eye out there to see, like, you know, how many people are out there, and it's still as many people as I've had on this show over the last couple of years. There's still a sea of gardeners out there still yet to explore and have fun with here in our community, and it's great to see everybody out there doing that.
Yeah.
Right on. Especially you, Scott, especially having you here. Like I said, I've always looked forward to this. Here we are, whole year in the books, 2025, finishing up right now. And it's been awesome to have you along with us again, too. You know, having your support and participating with us is just such an amazing thing, you know, for us here on our channel and our show and all of that. So, you know, we got to really express some heartfelt thank you to you for everything that you bring to our show, you know, each and every second Sunday of the month, or most second Sundays of the month anyways, throughout the year.
Almost all of them.
But, you know, if anything, you know, we get a great fun conversation out of it all. We get to learn some things we might not known about the garden, but it's just always great to have you here in our space, Scott, and we look forward to seeing you more in 2026.
Well, I love being here, and, you know, thank you for all you do, all of the the guests that you have to get information out, the behind the scenes effort that very few people would understand, that I know you are doing to find the guests, invite the guests, have the guests, and put together such an informative opportunity for anybody. So thank you. It's been a great year. I look forward to increased success for you as well, moving into next year, and just enjoy gardening at every step.
That's right. That's right. Excellent. Excellent. And one last plug here real quick. Get in the description, everybody. If you haven't had a chance yet, go grab up Gardener Scott's guide to raised bed gardening. Get a copy for yourself. Give one away as a gardening gift for sure. And again, thank you so much, Scott. We look forward to seeing you in 2026, my friend. Boy, oh boy, can't believe it's
I know,
coming at us so fast. But we'll see you then.
See you next year, Enoch. Thanks.
All right, man.
Hey gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible featured visits.
All right, everybody. Another show finishing up here today. How awesome to hang out with Gardener Scott and get all of that great garden information, fun discussion with him here today, talking about winter activities, things that we can be thinking about during the wintertime here, as far as either reflecting back on our 2025 garden or looking forward to our 2026 garden. Got lots of things that we can still be doing right now. And like I said, great conversation, great questions, everybody, too. Thank you all, everyone, for everything that you've brought here to the show today with all of your great questions. It just makes for just such a fun, awesome conversation with Gardener Scott. Like I said, we're so fortunate to have him join with us pretty much each and every month. We still miss one here and there, definitely some coming up in 2026 as well too. But we get to have him here with us most of the time each month to have this such a great conversation and get to learn from him. Like I said, I've been learning from Gardener Scott for years, and it's really awesome to be able to bring him here for you guys here on our show to be able to answer all of your garden questions for us here. So again, awesome. Thank you, Gardener Scott. But we got things to look at here coming up for our show. Next week is our final weekend of the show. Can you believe it? Here we are. It's already down to the last 2 shows of the year. We've been having such a great a couple of weeks now since I came back here, and a couple of great weekends of shows here. But we are down to our last weekend of shows. That's right. Next Saturday is what's going to be our 2025 Let's Get Growing 25 show review, our 2025 show review. We're going to look back at our 2025 here on the Let's Get Growing show, talk about some of our amazing guests that we've had throughout the year. But we're also going to have some really awesome guests join up with us as well. We're going to have Bowtie David. He'll be with us again next Saturday, along with Paul from Guten Gardening. He's going to come join with David and I, talking about how their year was for In the Garden. They were our In the Garden new segment contributors this year, along with Mr. NBC, Mark Roche Colbert. And so we'll talk with them about that and what they're thinking about coming up in 2026. We'll have our show sponsor with us, Charles from over at Ivy Organic. He's going to come join with us, talk about his 26 and all of that, what he's looking forward to as well. And our special guest too next Saturday will be Sarah Sarah Hood Siebel. Now she's newly married, and since she closed down the Sarah Seed shop, and she's going to come and join with us. We'll catch up with her. We'll see how things are going, and see how she's been since we last saw her on her last trivia segment a while back ago. So a good chance for everybody who, again, Sarah contributed for us for those first couple of years, such a big part of our show. So it's going to be really awesome to be able to kind of catch up at the end of the year with her and talk with her too. So come and join with us next Saturday for all of that fun. And then next Sunday for our final Sunday edition, final show of the year, we're going to be looking ahead at 2026. We've got some new things coming up for 2026. I'm excited to tell you all about. So you're going to have to come and join with us next Sunday to hear all about it. We've got some special guests joining with us to talk about some of these new things we've got coming up in 2026. So that's about all I'm going to tell you as far as that show goes. You're going to have to come and join with us and come and find out what we've got cooking for 2026 next Sunday on our final show of the year. And then we'll be off for about 3 weeks. Just a nice quick little 3 weeks for a nice little winter holiday break. I'm going to go ahead and put up shows that you can find on YouTube. You'll be able to find them there where you guys can come and join in and have a chat. The chat will be open during our regular show times. So if any of you want to come and join in and catch up or see if anybody's around, I know you guys have fun with that in the past. So we'll do that throughout the winter break. And then you never know, we might have someone show up. Someone might pop in and have a little conversation with you. You never know. I might pop in on one of those days or something, but we'll definitely have the chats open during those 3 weeks. And then we'll be back with the Let's Get Growing show on January 17th, 2026 for our first show back. And so again, we'll be kicking and raring to go for 2026, as we all are all the time when it comes to gardening and growing. There's so much to look forward to in this new season. I look forward to celebrating this new season with all of you who've been along this for this ride with all of us here. So again, I thank you so much for being here. And oh, wait a minute, I just saw this here real quick. I say this, Rob, you just published your 399th video tonight. Oh my gosh, 400 coming up. Right on. Definitely. That's awesome. So again, thank you everybody for being here. Great to see you. And I look forward to seeing all of you for next weekend's last shows, our final shows. So definitely come in, join in with us. And I'll see all of you next Saturday. We'll see you then.
Power out.